Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're doing well. Today I thought I'd share with you some of the trials and tribulations of being a car dealer. Obviously we've talked about them before, buying knackered cars, people stitching up a part exchange cars, people trying to take you to court for basic maintenance on their own vehicle. But there are other hidden issues, especially if you run a workshop, and perhaps a workshop that's not completely out of your control when it comes to, say, MOTs. If you outsource those like we do, you might have a problem a bit like this. So as I say, we do MOTs for customers, but we're not an MOT centre. I don't think we could ever really get an MOT centre past where we are. Just wouldn't meet the criteria basically of having a viewing area, etc, etc. Otherwise I would be very tempted to do it. But we do still like to offer servicing, MOT repairs, etc. So people will bring their cars to us and we just ship them off to one of another couple of MOT centres that we use, and they will do the MOT, pass or fail, bring it back, we do the servicing, etc, repairs if needed. Downside with sending something off to another business that's not under your control is occasionally things can go wrong. A bit like this example where we sent off a very nice Mercedes E-Class. I can't remember exactly what year this is, to be honest, but it's an E250. I think it's the AMG line, and yeah, the chap is just wanting to get it MOT'd before he sends it off to be sold. It's quite a nice thing. It actually did fail its MOT. It needed 3 tyres, which we've now done. You can kind of see some tyre soap on there and whatever, but you know, it's quite a nice thing, isn't it, really? He just needed a couple of tyres done, would have come back, and then he was ready to sell it, basically. Unfortunately, what happened, no real discredit to the MOT centre or the guys who work there, because shit just happens, doesn't it? And I know it's happened to us. They had this park next to another car, which when they went to go pull away, turns out they didn't really have a clutch, the customer hadn't told them, and as they fired it up and put it into gear, it just shot straight back, and this happened. So yes, not ideal. It's not really the phone call you want to get to say, oh, we know that MOT you sent over, we've crashed into it and done some damage, and it's going to need to be repaired. Can you figure out how much it's going to cost? So yeah, I mean, shit happens, doesn't it? This sort of stuff happens with us as well. Probably if you saw my first ever podcast that I did with Jordan and Dan, who work here with me, I talked about the fact that almost everyone had crashed into something and done some kind of damage. It always happens.
It was like 2 days in where I crashed a smart car into a smart car.
That was the first day. That was your first day.
Yep. I haven't crashed anything else.
Ended up being less. You crashed the recovery truck into someone's brand new van. I had to pay to have it fixed. A couple of months ago.
Yeah.
Josh crashing one of our cars into Sophie's grandma's car on the thingy, having to get that fixed.
Yeah.
Steph
Reversing a car.
drove into a pillar in the workshop and had to get that fixed on something.
Yeah. Because in the first week you were here, you had multiple crashes.
I did like to reverse into things quite a lot on the forecourt.
Unfortunately for the MOT centre, this one's actually quite a bad one, because it needs a whole new door, it needs a whole new trim. You can see with this, you're just not really going to get this back out, especially not if you're doing it properly for an insurance job, which is going to be done, I think it was going to be done under their insurance originally, but now they've decided that they're probably just going to pay it, save paying the excess on your business insurance, which people don't really think about. You know, you got business insurance, that's great, public liability, all that sort of stuff, but sometimes the majority of your claims, say like this, we've been quoted about 1,700 quid, I think, to repair this, including a brand new door from Mercedes, new trim, painted. It's going to have to be blended in across the door and the wings as well to make it look right, otherwise the colour's going to be off. Is that if your excess is, I don't know, 1,500 quid on your policy, why would you bother for the sake of 300 quid making your premiums more expensive forever? So these are some of the other hidden costs with running a business that people don't think of. You know, bad things are going to happen, accidents are going to happen, and ultimately if the MOT centre wasn't as good as they are, which is why we use them, they are an excellent place, and like I say, this isn't a dig against them. I can't judge for the fact that this has happened, considering I've done similar things on the forecourt, been on a rush and I've reversed into something or whatever. It happens, but they are being a decent business and standing by it and saying they will take care of it. If they'd said you know, they weren't going to, then it would have been on to me, wouldn't it, as these people are my customer and it was in my care really. So this is why choose who you work with very carefully. They are going to pay to have this repaired. In fact, we're going to get it loaded up on the truck shortly, sent it over to Jason at State of Art Paintwork, and he is going to get it fixed up. It's not exactly an easy call to make to your customer, to say, hi, yeah, your Mercedes you brought in for an MOT, some good and bad news. In a strange twist of fate, the customer who'd brought this in for its MOT to be sold off was actually buying another car from us. And I think he was going to sell this privately because he thought he'd get better money. So in a sense, that kind of helped when it came to making that really difficult phone call of saying, good news and bad news. Good news is the car you're buying is ready and you can come collect that whenever you want. Bad news is that your Mercedes has failed its MOT. It's only a few tyres and we can get that sorted for you and retest it tomorrow. The real bad news is that the MOT centre have crashed into your car and damaged it. And understandably, it's a bit like, oh, for God's sake, you know, it's not what you want to hear, is it? Especially when you're just finishing up tying up the final loose ends to sell your car and something like that happens. So I expected him to be a lot more upset actually, and he was very reasonable about it. I said, look, they are being true to their word and they are going to get this car sorted for you, brand new door, painted up. You know, if you're not happy with how it looks, we'll get it redone. And you know, if they weren't to have covered it, I would have, you know. So fair enough, he is being very understanding about it. And in fact, we said, well, you know, if you're looking to sell it, you know, do you know we have a car buying service? To which he said, yeah, I don't think we give very much for it. So we're going to get this sorted and we'll be able to say to him, look, here's your car sorted. If you want to take it away and sell it, that's fine. But here is a price to buy it from him. And I think probably if we offer him, you know, a decent price, as we usually tend to, that we might even end up with this car and it will be a nice car to have. It would have just been freshly repainted on one side, and I do very much like these E-classes, but you'll forever hear business owners talking about fighting fires daily, and that can be what you spend a lot of your time doing. Matt from High Peak Autos was on the podcast the other day and he was saying, you know, just fighting fires constantly. These are the fires. These are the sorts of things that happen, and it's just something you've got to deal with, something you couldn't possibly have planned for really, just completely unexpected, but now you've got to deal with it. We're about a week in at this point because we had to order the door from Mercedes, and the trim, and the little trim that's on the side, the chrome piece, the one they've sent seems like it's for the other side, but they're insisting that that's the right one. So, don't know. Let's get it over to Jason at State of Art, and when it's back, I'll show you how it's looking. Right, so our Merc has just come back from the body shop, looking a million times better, ready to go back to the customer. We will just give it a quick clean, get all the body shop dust out of it, and maybe chuck in a few cans of beer or a bottle of wine or something, as a thanks for the customer being so understanding. But it is now ready to go back to him. It's all fixed up, so let's check it out. Here it is, looking good, partly because this wasn't the side that was damaged. This was the door that was dented in, damaged, kind of crushed, and it had a whole complete replacement door and has been repainted in and blended into the wing and the front door. You can tell that it's being painted, you always will. Slight colour change. It might really show up on camera, but in person it's actually not that bad. And I think, you know, you may notice it because you're looking for it, but if you weren't, I don't think you would notice. Okay, so the more I looked at that paintwork, the more I thought, I better speak to this customer and make sure they're happy with this, because, you know, silver's a difficult colour. It was quite an obvious blend, and yeah, so the customer came in, checked it out, and unsurprisingly, you know, he wasn't that happy. That if it's a chance we could redo it, make it look better, can we do that? And fair shout to the body shop. I phoned them up and said, look, the guy's not happy with the colour blend. Can you redo it, blend it over a larger area, make it look better? I said, yeah, no problem at all. To be fair to them, I guess sometimes when you do the paintwork inside in unnatural light, artificial light I should say, it's kind of hard to gauge if you're in a darker space than you are at natural lighting. But they've redone it, it's back with us now. It's been 2 or 3 days, not long at all, and it's looking 10 times better, so let's check it out. So, to my eye now, there is no blend to be seen between these two doors at all. Nothing really on the rear either. The camera is usually the worst critic and will pick up every change, but Like I said before, previously, that bumper to the wing looks more of a change, as does that bumper to that wing. Looks like more of a change to me than anything that's going along on this side now. That looks spot on to me now. And if I was looking at that car without the knowledge of something happened to it, I don't think I would spot that at all. So that is a much better finish. Well worth asking the body shop just to run over it for us again. And I'll give the customer a call again. Hopefully he can come in, pick it up today, and he can go on, sell this car, and put this whole mess behind him. Fingers crossed. And you know, as long as the customer's happy, then so are we happy, and we can put this behind us as well. So I suppose what I should do actually before I sign off is show you the other side, just as a reference to see what it's like. This is the side that hasn't been touched. And I think you'd struggle to see a difference now between the two, because in fact the door to that wing has almost got a different shade to it. It's probably just the angle of the body panels. So if you were looking at this with a non-critical eye, I don't think you'd spot it. It's just the fact that we know something's happened and we're looking for it that you would spot it. So yeah, I'm glad that's sorted, and we can all put it behind us. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have, please do give it a thumbs up. Please do subscribe to the channel. It costs you nothing and really helps me out. And make sure you check out all the links in the description. There's discount codes for loads of great stuff. And other than that, I will see you next time.